Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Hukamnama today is by Guru Nanak Dev Ji in Asa Rag on Ang 472 of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Satnam Sri Vaheguru Ji. SHALOK Mahalla Pehla. Je kare Sutak Manya Sab tੈ Sutak hoye. Gohe ata lakdi Andar Keeda hoye. Je kar Sutak Manya Sab tੈ Sutak hoye. Gohe ata lakdi Andar Keeda hoye. जेते दाने अन्न के जिया बाच न कोई पहला पानी जियो है जित हरिया सब कोई सूतक क्यों कर रखिए सूतक पैर सोए नानक सूतक एव न उतरै ज्ञान उतारे धोए। महला पहला। मन का सूतक लोभ है जिहवा सूतक कूड़ अखी सूतक वेखना पर धन रूप कन्नी सूतक कन्य पै लायत बारी खाए नानक हंसा आदमी बत्ते जमपुर जाहे। महला पहला। सपो सूतक भरम है दूजा लगे जाए जम्मण मरना हुक्म है भाणे आवे जाए। खाना पीना पवित्र है दितोन रिजक संभाहे नानक जिन्नी गुरमुख बुझिया तिन्ना सूतक नाहे। पौड़ी। सतगुर वड्डा कर सालाहिया जिस विच वड्डियां वड्डियाइयां सह मेले तन दरियाइयां जा तिस भाना ता माने वसाइयां। कर हुक्म मस्तक हथ धर विच हो मार कट्टियां बुरियाइयां सह तुठै नौ निद पाइयां। कर हुक्म मस्तक हथ धर विच हो मार कट्टियां बुरियाइयां सह तुठै नौ निद पाइयां। गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जियो, the Shabbat today, the Guru Sahib has blessed us with as their Mukhvak, is from Asa Divar, that Asa Divar which fulfills all hopes and desires. And Guru Nanak Padshah Ji is blessing us with this Shabbat today. This Shabbat comes from a time when Guru Nanak Padshah Ji was visiting Delhi. And as Guru Nanak Padshah was visiting Delhi that day, there was a man within Delhi, in the city, who had invited the Brahmins, the Hindu priests, to his house to come and eat, so he could serve them on the next day, because his wife was pregnant, she was expecting, and he wanted to serve holy people, and in his eyes, the Brahmins, the Hindu priests, were holy. But what happened was in the night before, the Brahmins were going to go to the house. His wife gave birth to a child. When the Brahmins came to find out about this, they said, now his house is polluted. We cannot eat there. We cannot go to this man's house because it has been polluted by the birth of a child. And that pollution, that impurity is called Sutak. Now that house has become a house which is defiled by Sutak. Now, listening to this, the man was very upset. He had prepared all the food, everything was ready, all the mats were laid out on the floor, everything was ready for the Brahmins to come and eat and share the food. hearing that the Brahmins were turning down his humble request, the man was very upset. But by the grace of God, he was friends with the Sikh of Guru Nanak. And when he talked to this Sikh of Guru Nanak, the Sikh said, "Why are you worried, O brother? Guru Nanak Pasha will come with their Sangat, and they will share the food at your house, because they are beyond these meaningless rituals." And so the man went with his friend the Sikh and asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, "Of course I will come to your house." And when the Brahmins found out that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was going to eat at that man's house, they got together and they came to ask Guru Nanak, "Why are you polluting yourself and all your Sikhs?" And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said this Shabad to them, "Jekar sutak manniya sutak sabta sutak hoye." So Guru Nanak Pasha Ji says, if we begin believing in this idea of sutak, that when something is born, there is impurity, there is sutak, maniya, if we accept that, if we maniya that, sabta sutak hoye, sab means all, sabta, in all places there is sutak, every place becomes impure. Which place is there where nothing new is being born, where nothing new is being created, where no new animal has been born? Which place is there on this earth? Guru Nanak says, "Gohe ata lakdi andar keeda hoye." Gohe means in cow dung. You have to remember that food was cooked by burning cow dung, and still is in India, or lakdi, or wood. Guru Nanak Pasha Ji says, in the cow dung that you make your food with, you Brahmins, and in the lakdi, in the wood, under, within that, keeda hoye, there are worms, there are animals, there are insects, keeda. And then Guru Nanak Pasha Ji says, "Jete dane ann ke, jiyan baaj na koi." Jete dane, as many grains there are of corn, as many corn grains there are, ann ke, of ann, of food, of corn, jiyan baaj na koi, none of them are without any life forms. What Guru Nanak Pasha is saying is, the roti that you eat, the bread that you eat, is made from grains, is made from corn, but each of those grains has thousands, has millions of life forms living on them, being born, dying on them. And Guru Nanak says, "Pehla pani jiyo hai." First, Pani Jio. First, Pani has many life forms in it and is alive itself. Jit Hariya Sab Koe, and it brings life to everything else. Sutak kyon kar rakhi hai? How can we be saved from sutak, from impurity? Sutak pada rasoy, when impurity is taking place in your own rasoy, in your own kitchen. How many animals, how many ants are there that are born and die in your kitchen? Nanak sutak ev na utra. Oh Nanak, this is not the way of removing the sutak, the impurity. What is the way of removing it? Gyan utare toe. With gyan, with spiritual knowledge, you can take the impurity and toe and wash it away. Mahalla Pehla. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says instead there's a greater impurity. What's that? Man ka sutak lobh hai. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says the sutak, the impurity of the man, of the mind, is lobh, is greed. Greed is the true impurity. Jehva sutak kood. Impurity of the jeva, of the tongue, is speaking lies, falsehood, kood. Akhi sutak vekhna parathan roop. Akhi sutak. Impurity for the eyes is to vekhna, is to look, is to covet, is to want, is to hunger for. Paratriya, another person's wife, another person's tan, another person's money, wealth, another person's roop, another person's beauty. to lust after that, that is the true impurity. Kanni sutak kan pa layat bari kha. The impurity of the kanni, of the kan, of the ears, is layat bari kha. Kha literally means, layat bari means the slander of others. Literally, to listen to the slander of others is impurifying your ears, is filling your ears with dirt. Nanak hansai admi badde jampur jahe. Oh Nanak, this has two meanings. Hansa means the soul, the swan soul, admi of the human being. Badde jampur jahe goes badde, tied up to Jampur, to the city of death. Also Hansa means violent, committing all of these crimes, being so impure, the man's soul goes to Jampur, to the city of death. Mahalla pehla. Sabbo sutak parm hai, dujje laga jaye. Guru Nanak Pacha Ji says, all sutak, all this idea of impurity is param, is just a mindless ritual. Dujje laga jaye. And where does it come from? It comes from the idea of duja, the idea that there is no ik, the idea of duality. That's where it comes from. And this outwardly impurity which can laga, which can attach to you from outside, Guru Nanak says that's all fiction. True impurity is the inner impurity. Jamman marna hukam hai. Oh Brahmins, Jamman marna, being born and dying is hukam, is the will of God. Pane aave jai, in His command we come and we go. Khana pina pavitra hai. Khana to eat, pina to drink, is pavitra, is blessed. Why? Because ditton rijak sambahe. Because Guruji ditton gives us this rijak, this nourishment, this food, this blessing to all of us. Sambahe, to everyone. Nanak, oh Nanak, jini Gurmukh bujya. Those Gurmukhs, those followers of the Guru who have understood this, they are never attached to impurity. They are never touched by the impureness. PAUREE. Sadgur vadda kar salahiye jis vich vadiyan vadiyaiyan. Praise the Sat Guru, the true Guru. Why? Because he is vadda, he is great. And what else? Jis vich vadiyan vadiyaiyan. Within that great master there are vadiyan vadiyaiyan, great virtues, vadiyaiyan. All virtues come from God. Sah mele ta nadri aiya. Only when Sah, God unites us with the Guru, mele ta nadri aiya, then we begin to nadri, to see them aiya, to come into within our vision. At the moment we're like a frog which is stuck in the well. We don't know that an ocean exists. Only when we are pulled out of that well do we see the rest of the world. Jatis Pana Tamman Visaya. When it pleases Vaheguru, when it's in His Pana, in His command, Tamman Visaya, then He comes to dwell in our mind. Kar Hukam Mastak Hatatar, which Mar Kadiyan Buriyaya. The Guru, through the Hukam of Vaheguru, through the command of Vaheguru, Mastak Hatatar, puts upon our mastak, on our forehead, He places His hat, His hand. Which Mar Kadiyan Buriyaya. And He beats all of the buryaya, the wickedness and evil from within us. Sah tutta naunid paiya. When our Sah, when our husband Lord is tutta, is pleased with us, we are blessed with naunid, the 9 treasures. So Guru Pyare Sad Sangat Ji, the Hukamnama today was at one point said to those pundits in Delhi, but it applies to us now. Let us focus on purifying the soul. Let us not fall into mindless ritual. But let us also understand our Guru's hukam. Guruji is saying here, Purify your mind. Love the world. And worship Akal Purkh through the Satguru. ਕਰ ਹੁਕਮ ਮਸਤਕ ਹੱਥ ਧਾਰੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮਾਰ ਕੱਢੀਆਂ ਬੁਰੀਆਈਆਂ ਸਹਿਤ ਉਠੈ ਨੌ ਨਿਧ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਜਕਾਰੇ ਜਾਏ ਨਿਹਾਲੋ ਜਾਏ ਫਤਿਹ ਪਾਵੇ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਗੁਰ ਬਰੇ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।